Rebonjour tout le
Hello again. Good afternoon.
The three individuals I know many of you are eager to hear from. Nous allons poursuivre en
And so now we're going to chat with three individuals I know many of you are eager to hear from. This is a family we know, and there's going to be a leadership race,
which is very important. Before this race, we're a family, and we will have to be more united after this race. And these people decided to propose their candidature. Kellie Leitch, Maxime Bernier, and Michael Chong sont trois espoirs sérieux.
They are three principal dynamic leadership hopefuls who have so far taken the big step of officially declaring their candidacy.
Bernier and Michael Chong are three principal dynamic leadership hopefuls who have so far taken the big step of officially declaring their candidacy. We thought that was important to hear what they have to say about their candidature. Please welcome Kellie, Max, and Michael. Thank you for being here. We want to give each of you a chance to present yourself to convention and to make the case as why the people have to select you like the next leader of our party. Nous voulons vous donner la chance de...
We want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves to convention and to make the case as to why you would make the best leader for our party.
Have a passion for long speeches. That means that you will have 2 minutes. Vous aurez 2 minutes.
You have 2 minutes, 3 questions, and 2 minutes to answer each question, to tell us what is your view of things. 2 minutes.
So you have 2 minutes to give us your best pitch. And I mean 2 minutes. That will be 2 minutes. Let's start with Maxime Bernier.
Bonjour.
Hello. I'm absolutely delighted to be here to talk to you about conservative values.
You in individual freedom, personal responsibility, free markets, freedom. But for me, that's not funny buzzwords. I believe in it. I speak about it for many years now, and I act on it. So that's one I believe, and I think we have the best ideas. Freedom is the basis of our civilization. And when you speak about what we believe with passion, with conviction, when we are explaining why we believe in a smaller government, we must answer the question why. And why it's very simple. Because we know that a big, fat, interventionist government, it is unfair and it is not respectful of citizens. And I will give you only one example because the time is very short. So the example is, I don't believe in corporate welfare. And I think we must abolish that. To have a fair policy for every entrepreneur and lowering taxes to everybody. But if you want to know a little bit more about what we believe, just go on my website, maximebernier.com, and I'm pleased to be here with you. And I want to defend and promote these ideas of freedom and responsibility with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxime. And Michael is next.
Merci.
Thank you, Denis. Good afternoon, all.
Because I believe we can win in 2019. And I believe the path to victory lies in attracting new people to our party. And I think that starts by telling Canadians who we are as conservatives. So let me tell you about who I am as a conservative. I'm the kid of immigrant parents. My father was a Chinese immigrant who came here in 1952 from Hong Kong. My mother was a Dutch immigrant. She came here in the 1960s. Both of my parents were defended and liberated by Canadian soldiers during the Second World War. My father was a young boy.
It was a young boy in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong Island during the Second World War, and he watched as the Royal Rifles of Canada and the Winnipeg Grenadiers defended him and his family from a very vicious attack and assault during the Battle of Hong Kong. Hundreds of those soldiers died in action so that my father and his family could live. Many hundreds more were captured as prisoners of war and suffered under horrific conditions in camps during the Second World War. And so too with my mother's family. My mother's family was liberated by Canadian soldiers during the battle in the Netherlands. 7,000 Canadian soldiers gave their lives so that my mother and her family could live. And after the war, my parents immigrated to this country in the 1950s and 60s. And they built for themselves and their family a life of hope and opportunity. They counted their pennies, they invested in their children's future. And my friends, that's a Canadian story, but it is also a conservative story. And it is a story of millions of Canadians who've come here in recent decades and in the more distant past. And my friends, if we tell this story about who we are as conservatives, we will win in 2019. Because Canadians from coast to coast, Canadians in large cities like Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, and Halifax, Winnipeg, will see themselves in our party. They will identify with us as conservatives. They will once again entrust us with their confidence. They will vote for us, and we will win. And that's why I'm in this leadership race. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Kellie, the floor is yours.
Bonjour.
Hello. My campaign is going to focus on 3 pillars: freedom, prosperity, and dignity. That is to say, identity. One's identity is strong.
Where my mother demanded we had to be there at 6 p.m. every night. And we talked about a lot of things, but they were things that were grounded in conservative values. Hard work that should be rewarded. Generosity. And I can tell you, when someone arrived at our door in Fort McMurray, Alberta without a toque, they got one. Freedom. Making sure that those individuals that are fighting abroad for our freedom here at home are supported, the Canadian Armed Forces, but also freedom economically here at home. Reducing taxes so that guys like my dad who run a small business have more money in their pockets because the money's better in your hands than with the government. And also, you're allowed to cheer for that, but also freedom from government intervention. And that's why I was proud to be part of a government that eliminated the long gun registry, because that was important to us. I can tell you that those values are the values that should be represented in government. I'm a proud Canadian. I'm a proud conservative Canadian. I know you are all proud conservative Canadians, and we need to make sure that our values are back in government, and we're going to do it in 2019. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kellie. There's no such thing as a political party that cannot be improved. À votre avis, pour la prochaine élection,
For the next elections in 2019, what is it that the Conservative Party have to improve upon to be elected?
the Conservative Party of Canada needs to improve in order to win the next election. The floor is to Kellie.
I'm back. Did you miss me? Pour gagner
In order to win in 2019, we need to show all Canadians that we are ready to take the lead.
party to have a focused organization, and we need to have an inspirational platform. We need to empower all of you as a team with a concise, focused message that we take to the public about being proud Canadians and proud conservatives. When we link our values as proud conservatives to great ideas, we win. We've seen it in the past. We'll see it again. We've seen opportunities for conservatives from Sir John A. Macdonald to Stephen Harper. When we focus on conservative values that are matched to a message which is an empowered party, we will win.
Good. Thank you, Kellie. Michael?
Merci, Denis.
Thank you so much, Denis. Well, I think we need to attract new activists within the Conservative Party. I also think that we need to attract new voters to the party during the next elections in 2019. I also believe that we can do this by putting forward ambitious policies based on conservative values. I also believe that we can do this by telling Canadians our story as conservatives. That is why I shared my personal story with you. Now, my father was Chinese, and my mother was from the Netherlands. They moved here back in the 50s and 60s, and here in Canada, they gave themselves a new life for themselves and for their family. And I believe it's very important to tell our stories, because this is the story of millions of citizens, new immigrants here to Canada in the last decades or so. And so, as conservatives, if we tell our stories, then everyone, especially in the major cities of Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Halifax, Winnipeg, they will identify with us as conservatives. And I believe that is the road to victory in 2019. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Maxime, over to you. Well, thank you so much.
For us, it's to always speak with our core values, what we believe. Smaller government and freedom. It will be very important in the next couple of weeks and months, because what we have in Ottawa a big, fat government. We have in Ottawa a government that is spending money right now that we don't have, and that will be the future generation who will have to pay for the spending that we're doing today, but without having any benefits. We have in Ottawa a government that elevates government and downgrades citizens. So we must be ourselves. We believe in people. We believe in you. We believe in entrepreneurs. We believe that you have the ability, the right, and the dignity to make your own decision and determine your own destiny. So we have to be proud to be conservative, and we know that to be fair and to speak about fairness, it's a conservative value. It's a value that is important because we know that a big fat government, it is always unfair. They pick some winner and all the others are loser. So let's be concentrate of what we are doing well and being proud of who we are. And in 4 years from now, we'll be able to be back in power again. And aussi, j'aimerais vous dire...
I would also like to say that it's important to respect regional differences. I believe that we should attract people from different cultures with different values, and it's when we respect people's freedom, the diversity of all, that is how we can build a greater country.
Yes, we can build a better country because we have the best ideas. And our ideas are based on freedom, and that's the basis of the Western civilization, and that's the only way to have prosperity in this country. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Maxime.
Thank you very much, Maxime. Last
Question for everyone, bien sûr. La dernière question pour tous.
questions for all. Thank you. Thank you. I would like to thank you. After Mr. Harper's speech yesterday, thank you for speaking French. Thank you. I have to say, as a Quebecer, this is very important to me, but it's important for...
To know that their elected people, representative, are able to pass their emotions to. What the Canadians have to know from you that they don't know. Qu'est-ce que les Canadiens...
What is it that Canadians don't know about you and should know about you? Now, yes, we can read your bio.
We have to know about you, we don't know. Et la parole sera...
So the floor is to, let me see, I have to check my notes, sorry. The floor is Mr. Bernier's. Maxime, you're up first. Maxime, Kellie, and Mike. Well, thank you. Well, I think you know that I like to run, and I think I'm going to be engaging in a marathon.
And I ran 100K in my riding 2 years ago to raise funds for a food bank, the food bank in my riding. We were very successful to raise 165,000. And that was the real solidarity in my riding. People were giving for a cause, and I'm very proud of that. But also to do that, you need determination. And I have the determination to work hard, to do what we need to do, to be back in power in 4 years from now. Thank you.
Merci, Maxime.
Thank you, Maxime. Kellie.
I hesitate to say this, but I actually play the saxophone. Now, I didn't bring it today because I actually am not going to torment all of you with me playing, but maybe in the future. But I will tell you that I had this one experience just recently playing my saxophone at the National Arts Center. And it was interesting. I brought my saxophone, and my staff thought I was just going to hold it and, show the kids. And then I started to play. Well, I thought that my young staffer, Heather Torrey, was going to tackle me and take me out because it was so embarrassing for her. But the best thing that happened, actually, was 700 children that were there stood up and started singing "O Canada," because that's what I was playing. We are proud Canadians, and these young Canadians did exactly what we want them to do, be proud Canadians. The other thing I will tell you is that as a proud Canadian, my hometown is Fort McMurray, Alberta. And I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of you and all Canadians for your overwhelming generosity for my hometown. My parents moved to McMurray in 1973, and the home that my father built for our family actually burnt down on May the 3rd. And the generosity of people like yourself from across the country is exactly what we know Canadians are all about. We go out and work hard every single day to take care of our families, and then when we have a little bit more, we give back, and we give back generously. That's why we're such a hugely united country, because we know what generosity is all about. So to all of you, from my family and my friends in Fort McMurray, thank you very much. It is greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Kellie. Michael.
Merci.
Well, thank you, Denis. I agree with you. It's very important that the leader of the party be able to speak in both official languages. Now, this is an example that Mr. Harper gave in the past 10 years as the Prime Minister of Canada.
I'll tell you something that you may not know about me. And so what you probably don't know about me is that my first language is Dutch. Yes, my father was a Chinese immigrant, but my mother was a Dutch immigrant. And my father, being at work all the time in Wellington County in Guelph, Ontario, as a physician, left me, obviously, with my mother. And so as a toddler, as a 2- and 3-year-old, my mother spoke to me in Dutch all the time. And so by the time I got to kindergarten at Ponsonby Public School in Wellington County, I had a thick Dutch accent, but they didn't know that my mother was Dutch. And so when I first entered kindergarten, I went through the standard evaluation to test whether I needed any remedial work. And so they showed me a series of drawings on a piece of paper, a fish, for example. They asked me to pronounce my last name, and I couldn't pronounce any of these things. So a fish I pronounced as vis. And for those people in the room who are of Dutch extraction, they'll know what I'm talking about. That's the way the Dutch pronounce fish, is vis. And my last name, the Dutch traditionally could not pronounce the consonant CH. So my last name was Chong instead of Chong. And so by the end of the evaluation, they thought I had a speech impediment and that I required remedial therapy. And so I still have the evaluation form at home in one of these boxes that I've kept it in. And at the bottom it says, possible speech impediment may require remedial speech therapy. It's all scratched out, and in beautiful cursive writing to the right of it, it says, incorrect, called father, mother is Dutch. That's my story.
Thank you very much, Michael. Merci beaucoup.
Well, then, thank you very much for talking to us.
We wish you the best, and we know that will be a long way. but continue to work hard for the party. And mesdames et messieurs,
So, ladies and gentlemen, please applaud our candidates. Thank you very much.